Views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the staff or management of the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas podcast.
Well, hello there, and welcome to another edition of the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas. I'm John Engelman. Thanks for tuning in. On today's edition, we head to Gentry, and we talk to the current and former owners of the Wooden Spoon. But before we get to them,
Food news.
There's now a brand new Pickleman's in Springdale at 412 and I-49 in the Sam's Club side of the intersection. It has a drive-through, a patio, and indoor expanded seating. Now, for the uninitiated, Pickleman serves toasted sandwiches, thin crust pizzas, salads, soups, and cookies. And don't sleep on those chocolate chippers. Franchisees and Fayetteville residents Alan and Brittany Wills had Springdale earmarked for a good while.
Springdale has always been a location that we have coveted. This corner right here, 412, a lot going on. Some really great competitors and friends in the industry are here, and we wanted this parcel. We wanted to bring this to Springdale and to build the building, to own the land, and to bring it to fruition.
This is their 10th restaurant, making them the largest franchisees for the company. The Hive executive chef Micah Klasky held a very successful Chef Cycle Fundraiser benefiting No Kid Hungry a week and a half ago, and this past week, another was announced by Gaskin's on Emma executive chef Sam Walker. He'll be joined by Rain Sushi and Hibachi's Rainer Wibowo, Barry Abe, and Heirloom at the 1907's Jason Paul. By the way, good chance to get food if you can't get into Heirloom. William Mock from Bienvenue, Vince Penalto from Brightwater, and Kobe Smith from Cardi in Little Rock. Each chef is going to do that voodoo that they do so well.
We didn't make it to where it's a menu that kind of boxes anyone in. It's more of everyone kind of doing their own flair and bringing their own. So when you come in for this dinner, you're going to get to experience everyone's style and technique and really what they bring to the table versus us trying to make it super cohesive. It's kind of not on purpose.
Of course, money raised goes to No Kid Hungry, who's been around for a while.
They do a very good job of, trying to find solutions for food insecurities across the U.S., whether that be through after-school programs or summer programs, ways to get food to the kids and the people that need it the most.
The dinner is April 22nd, and the ticket link is in the Gaskin's on Emma social media and ours as well. Parlor Donuts will be opening in Rogers soon. If you've had them in Branson, then you know what the folks there know. They are quite popular. They'll be at 5400 South Pinnacle Hills Parkway. We'll let you know once we hear of a grand opening date. Hey, Centerton, there is a new sushi and hibachi restaurant in your fine city. It's called Takashi Hibachi and Sushi. Now, it's the third one in the area, as they have food trucks in Rogers and Pea Ridge called Takashi Express. They're at 401 West Centerton Boulevard. The Fayetteville Flyer is reporting that the Old Eureka Pizza on Leverett in Fayetteville will soon be a Benny's Bagels. There's one in East Dallas that's been open since the 90s. This one will be owned and operated by two former U of A grads, Ryan Nickel and Pierce Mixon. If everything goes swimmingly, they'll open midsummer. You come for the dessert, you stay for the meal. That's been echoed in Gentry for over 20 years when talking about the Wooden Spoon. Cam and Jane Klassen started the restaurant 20-plus years ago, and in their mind, as sort of an obligation. You'll hear that story. They also hear about the building that the restaurant's in. Part of it came a very long way. Cam will tell us that story. 4 years ago, Justin and Emily Allen bought the Wooden Spoon from the Klassens. The Allens had no restaurant background, but it didn't much matter at the time. You'll hear the story about the transition and the emotion involved once the wheels started to turn. We talked to Justin and Emily Allen, as well as Cam and Jane Klassen, about one of our region's favorites. It's the Wooden Spoon, and it's next, right here on the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation, innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org.
Welcome back. We are in Gentry, and let me tell you, we are at the legendary Wooden Spoon. I've been wanting to get this place for a while, and we're in for a treat here. We've got the current owners, Justin and Emily. Guys, how are you?
Doing well.
Great.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me here and setting this all up, because we've also got the former owners, Cam and Jane. Guys, thank you so much for being here.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure. Gosh, this is great. So I'm pumped to have the full lifespan ownership of this restaurant, to go through the whole, I guess we can say 20 plus years, right? Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
That's excellent. That's great. So let's kick it off. Justin, you and Emily, what made you guys want to buy the restaurant from the Klassens?
Well,
It's a loaded question off the
I would
top.
say we were asked to buy the restaurant from the Klassens. Okay. This is how I would describe it. If you go back August 2020, we were customers for about a good 10, 11 years. Every Friday night, our family came here. We've got 8 kids. We're a large group of people. Hard to miss us when we would show up with our crowd every Friday night. And the Klassens know all their customers. That's just how they were. And so they got to know us. And we were having a party. It's during COVID years. You might remember those times. They were interesting. And so we were over there in the side room. And I remember Mr. Cam, it was about time to pay the bill. Thought he was going to pay my bill for me, but he didn't. He said he gave me a big bill.
You know, it's never too late. No.
Exactly. True. Not really true.
Sorry, Justin. I apologize now.
Now.
But he pulled me aside and he said, I don't tell everybody here in the building, but, we've got our restaurant for sale, and we've had 2 full price offers. We don't really think those are the right people. Jane and I prayed about it, and we think that you and Emily are the ones to buy this place. And that started the journey.
We'll talk more about that here in a second. I want to talk about this place. Obviously, before we do, the idea of this kind of started across the street. You had a sandwich shop over there, you guys did. Tell me, Cam and Jane, tell me a little bit about that.
Go ahead.
Well, I'll start by saying it was never our intention to have a sandwich shop.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a really good friend that opened a stove store over here, and we told him, Lane, you should put a little soup and sandwich shop in.
Gotcha.
And he said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll put a kitchen in if you'll run the soup and sandwich shop. We didn't want to run a soup and sandwich shop, but we had a niece and a good friend of hers that really were wanting to do something like that.
Okay.
So we told Lane, they want to do this. Gwen and Ginger want to do this. And long story short, it didn't work out.
Oh, no.
For them.
Okay.
For them. And Lane just finally said, I'm going to take the kitchen out. We're not going to do this anymore unless you guys run it. And it was, well, we have another business that we've had a lot longer than that. And we didn't really want to have a restaurant. But you know what? At that point, we felt like we were somewhat obligated to Lane and somewhat obligated to the community, because by this time, people were starting to come in. So I can just tell you that for the first while, I don't think we really appreciated it too much, and certainly our kids did not. They resented it because we had them working in there.
Oh, of course.
They got the fun jobs.
Yeah.
Like doing dishes. That's what
That is fun.
every one of the children started at dishes.
Yeah.
Our kids can relate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Anyway, probably 2 years in, 2 or 3, we actually started making a little money.
There you
Before
go.
that, we didn't make a dime, really. And then we started really connecting with the community, and the community really started being good to us. And I will just tell you that this Gentry community is amazing. The support that we got from them was beyond incredible.
The bond created from something like that first off, it's so unique, but secondly, it can really make a difference.
Yeah.
With that kind of restaurant, if you will. Well, it became time to move it over here. Tell me that story, because I know we're sitting in a barn from Michigan from the late 1800s, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
How did it go from there to here? And I keep hitting this camera, sorry.
Well, I think what precipitated it was that Lane was talking of selling the stove store.
Oh.
And we wanted something that was something that would be worth something.
Sure.
As our own, because there were just a name.
Gotcha.
Not the building.
Of course.
And we had some connection. We'd already moved a barn down from Michigan to put on our place.
Okay.
built in 1870, and we had some connection, family and different things in Michigan, and they had let us know about this building, that it was available, and so we had it moved down.
Well, there's more to that story.
Yeah, there is.
We, Cam, we had taken 3 or 4 barns down, right? From Michigan at that time? Two. Okay.
The big barn.
And Cam said, no more. This is it. We don't need any more barns. And then someone called him and said, hey, I have a barn. And on his way back to the airport, he called me, and we started talking about it, and he said, that'd make a really neat restaurant. End of story.
End of story.
Yeah, there it went.
That's perfect. So now getting the land over here, because I assume you wanted to stay in the same spot. You didn't want to stray too far from the customers that kind of made you what you were over there. Talk about getting that built over here and getting that process done, basically.
I don't really even recall how we were able to buy this piece of land.
It was an empty lot. It was just sitting here all grown over.
Oh, I get it.
And so, yeah, we approached the owners, and they were willing to sell.
Yeah.
So you build it up here. Do you remember how long that took?
It felt like a long time because
I'm sure.
that particular year was one of the hottest years on record.
Yeah, gosh.
And I remember doing the south wall. My nephew came out from Canada to visit, and he helped us. And it was 111 degrees one day, and we were putting siding on.
Oh no.
Anyway, yeah, he couldn't endure it. But anyway.
But the beams went up in the snow.
Yeah, they did.
The original beams went up in the snow. The guys that put it up, they were used to working in cold, and so they started. And then it progressed into heat.
You guys got both extremes.
We got it.
We did,
We
yeah.
got both. I think it must have taken 10 months.
Yeah, it took about 10 months.
Okay, so once it's built up, once you're going, it's 24 hours before opening your doors for the very first time. What was that like, that last 24 hours?
I think we were probably still pushing equipment across the road.
24 hours, yeah, we were.
The light's red, hurry, the light's red.
It's about right.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, 20 years later, 20-ish years later, you all decide that it's time to retire. What was that conversation like between you all and your family? Because at this point, this restaurant was an institution.
It was difficult.
Yeah.
Cam was more into quitting than I was. Actually, he had to talk me into it for a while, because I said, you know what, this is what we've done for 19 years, you know,
Sure.
and this is what the kids know. It was kind of like the kids' baby too, you know. They were raised in this restaurant, and they actually started out not enjoying it at all, and then they began to love it. And in fact, one of our daughters carried into the food business, but it finally came to the place. Actually, what settled it in my mind was I was on my way home from our Friday night that had been absolutely extreme. I can't remember how many we served that night. I was exhausted.
Sure.
And I said, I think it's time. I think
That'll
I'm
do it.
getting old enough for this.
That'll do
So,
it.
yeah.
Those nights will have that effect on you for
Yeah,
sure.
It will.
Well, you get 2 full price offers, and then you have these lovely people that you'd seen all the time come and eat, come and sit, and you make them the offer. What was the response from them?
Well, I'll never forget. I still get kind of emotional.
Oh.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't going to. Now, so I mentioned it to Justin, and sorry.
No, you're good.
Justin goes, wow. If I remember correctly, you said that you had been talking about something like that.
Yes,
I don't know how seriously, but anyway, he said, well, we're going to go home and pray about it. And he said, because you would trust that to us, it makes me cry. And he started crying.
Oh, gosh.
Hey, we're both emotional guys.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You guys are going to make me take
my
glasses off here. Keep going. I'm not here.
Yeah. Then, I think it was the next day, he called and he said, yeah, we think we want to do this.
Had you guys ever had any restaurant experience at all?
Not a single day. Besides eating in a lot of restaurants. We still do that too. Yes.
Yeah, none.
0. What was the? Tell me about the learning curve, and I'm assuming you all trained them along the way. How much time? What was the learning curve of that? Oh gosh, the laughter is starting again. This is great. I'm just going to sit back and let you guys tell the story. It's great.
Oh goodness, extreme learning curve. We didn't know how to make anything. None of the recipes. We didn't know. Let's be clear. We know how to cook. Like we cook in our family, and this is a family style of cooking. So we were comfortable with knowing how to fry food and make things, but never in a massive quantities that you can make in a restaurant. We didn't know how that worked. We didn't know how a commercial kitchen worked.
And a restaurant this size.
Right, a restaurant this size with a reputation this size. For me, it was more like I have just got this diamond of a gem that I cannot screw up.
Yeah.
You know, the community's depending on me. The Classens are depending on me to make sure I don't screw this up. And we just felt a ton of pressure to figure it out. And the learning curve is still there. Like there's still so much I don't know about how to run a restaurant. You would think I could tell you what that plate cost me. I can't do it. Like 4 years into it, I'm still trying to figure all those details out because there's just you have to focus on the customer first and worry about all the operational things you always tell yourself you're going to get to and make better or get better at. And I don't have time in the day to do all that for many reasons.
Yeah, many reasons indeed. And you were maintaining a full-time job at the time. Tell me about that.
I still do.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yeah, so
there you go.
I'm a vice president of sales for a local company selling product to Walmart, and that's my full-time gig. That's how we make money because kind of like they were saying, not making a lot of money off the restaurant. We're not there yet.
You don't sleep is what you're telling me.
It's a lot of sleepless nights, yes.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I wasn't prepared for as a business owner that you go through. Can I make payroll this pay period? It's January. We've had 2 snow days this week, and how are we gonna manage to pay the bills? And those are things I've had to live that I didn't see coming. I don't know why, I just didn't. And it's a lot of great learning for me, and it's a lot of great learning for us as a couple, and our kids have gone through this journey with us, and it's been pretty incredible.
And you've got the whole family working here.
We do, all 8 children. Well, I guess you can't say that Clementine works here, but she's 9. But all of our kids do work here in some capacity, from the oldest to the youngest.
Wow.
It's pretty.
What a team!
Fun. It has made a big difference. And to the same comments that were made earlier, they didn't like it the first couple of years, and now we're 2 years after that. I would say it's been the last 12 months, 18 months have been a really interesting turning point for the whole family. As my daughter took over the bakery, and she's now running the bakery here. Last October or so, that kind of happened, and then our bread maker decided to go on something different. My other daughter's making all the bread for the restaurant. She's also a server now, and so they've all just kind of taken on their own part of the place, and they own it, and it's super fun to see.
Responsibility, what a lesson and what a place to learn it.
Agree.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. 4 years later, how's it going?
It's exciting. We've every year we've owned it. We have grown in sales. I'm a sales guy by training.
Indeed.
So that's what I focus on, and so I'm always looking at the numbers and seeing where we are. We grew 23% last year, which is in a year where we shouldn't be growing at all because the restaurant industry is suffering with all the things that we can all talk about at another time.
I don't think we're going to do that on this podcast.
No, don't do it. No one do that today.
We're going to do it.
But it's exciting to see the growth because the customers still love the wooden spoon. I guess what I say sometimes is like we haven't screwed it up. That's what I tell myself, which makes me happy to know that they entrusted us with this gym and we haven't screwed it up. I mean, have we had bad days? Yes, there have been bad days.
It's the restaurant business.
But as a whole, the reputation of the wooden spoon, I believe, still stands strong in the community, and we're proud of that.
I understand you've got a couple of visitors that you get a lot.
Yes, the Classens do come visit us. Apparently, they were here for lunch today. I missed it, but yes, they do come visit us as well, and that's a testament to that we're proud of as well.
How are they doing? They doing okay?
Doing good.
Okay,
I think
good.
so.
Yeah.
All right, great. Are you guys ready to talk food?
Let's talk food.
Let's
that's
talk
why
food.
Why we ate here.
That's why we're here. We'll talk food. It's the Mike Pickleman Home Pro Tip of the Week, and that's next right here on the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas.
Connect with us at Flavors of Northwest Arkansas on Facebook and Instagram, or by email at flavorsofnwa@gmail.com.
Well, it's time for the Mike Pickleman Home Pro Tip of the Week, and for that, we're going to kick it off with Mr. Justin. Sir, what is your tip?
My tip is don't cook at all. Let us do it for you. We sell frozen foods in our lobby here, and we have a truck that goes around Northwest Arkansas, and I say don't cook.
We're going to talk more about the truck later, but there's another tip. Miss Jane.
I say raise your daughters in a restaurant
That's
until
not a
they
bad
learn
plan.
to love to cook. And you go home and you say, what are we going to have for supper? And they say, I'll do it, Mom.
That's great. And sons, because I like to cook. I'm the cook of our house, so.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Your story doesn't have to end. As an organ donor, the good in you can live on. In fact, you can save up to 8 lives through organ donation. Sign up to give the gift of life after you're gone. You'll be happy you did. Just maybe, someone else will too. Sign up online today as an organ, eye, and tissue donor at organdonor.gov. It saves lives.
That's right, organdonor.gov, really, really important site. If you've not been there, check it out because it's very easy. If you have not signed up to be an organ donor, it's quick. Click the sign up link, click the state, and once you click the state, it'll take you to your state sign up page, and it's a page, sometimes two, depending on the state. I haven't visited all the states, but I can tell you Arkansas and Texas are pretty quick. Those take 5 minutes. You can also get signed up on the health app on your iPhone. You can get signed up through there. Also, the old school way that I did a million trillion years ago, go to the DMV or the Department of Finance, go there and declare yourself an organ donor. But if you want to do it quick, organdonor.gov is the place to go. Thank you so much. And we are back. Justin, Emily, Mr. Cam, Miss Jane. Guys, thank you so much. This has been fun so far. It's about to get more fun because we're talking food, and I think we all are a big fan of that. I know I am. Cam, I read a quote. I think it was from the sandwich shop back in the day. They come for the desserts, they stay for the meal. It's a popular moniker here now. Is that how the wooden spoon menu started, with a real focus on the desserts because of what you guys, and this may be a question for Miss Jane, what you guys had going over there? I got my directions wrong again over there.
Dessert was a big thing. Everybody's attracted to dessert in one form or another.
Sure.
And made from scratch dessert. Mm-hmm. We started with pies, and we started with pies that we made at home, that we learned from Grandma
Sure.
and Mom.
Okay.
And one of the main ones was coconut cream.
Oh.
And I think that's probably still one of the best sellers.
Absolutely.
And we had an old gentleman that came in, and I think he passed away maybe 3 years after we started. And that was his little saying. He would come in and he'd say, "Come for dessert, stay for a meal."
That's great.
So that's where that started.
And it's still very popular in 2025. That's great. So this is the unfair question now. What was that first menu like? What did it look like? And I know it's impossible to remember right now, but maybe a couple of the items.
It was simple.
Okay.
Not very many. We started with sandwiches. We kind of morphed into a hot meal soon after we started. But we started out with what we called a ranch turkey.
Okay.
You still serve that?
Still serve it every day.
Okay. That, and then we also had one that had proprietary sauce on it.
Okay.
Mayonnaise, sugar-based sauce, with apples and turkey. And that one went over well for a while, and then kind of, I don't know if we faded out on it or if our customers did, but those were the two main ones, actually.
Okay.
And then, of course, we started doing a brisket sandwich as well.
Ooh.
Rather quickly. And then the sides. We kind of picked up on the sides because it just added so much to a meal besides chips.
Well, and I think everything from scratch, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct, yes. Yeah. And the sides were another thing that, we gathered our recipes from home that we grew up with.
Sure.
And my sister worked there, my older sister, at the same time. She kind of got into it with us and some of our other employees. And we just gathered recipes that way. And so, yes.
And so it built that way over time.
It built like that, yes.
Excellent. Did you ever have any recommendations from customers that you're like, that may work? Anything like that?
We had one, and he was a regular customer. He's a great guy, and he wanted us to do a meatloaf sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
And my sister said, "We are not doing a meatloaf sandwich." She was absolutely appalled with the idea of a meatloaf sandwich. But I said, "Hey, let's try it.
Yeah.
Guess what?
One of the best sellers.
Gangbusters.
Yep.
Yeah.
It hit. That's great. I love hearing that. And it grew over time, and it hasn't skipped a beat since. Except, for those that are not familiar with the current menu, they have salads, 10 homemade dressings. I want to make a point to emphasize that because I've not seen that. Not that I've necessarily paid attention, but usually when a restaurant has salad dressing, it's not all homemade. Wraps, plates, burgers, sandwiches, including smoked meats, my man here to the left, soups, build your own bowls, etc. What's it been like building out? Because it's a big menu.
It is. I'd say we looked really hard to expand the menu by taking what we already had and trying to figure out how we can make it a little different. A macaroni and cheese bowl. We take our smoked meats. Oh, we'll put it on top of macaroni and cheese. That's a kind of a thing now. Let's
ding,
do
ding,
that.
ding, 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 ding.
And so those were the kind of ways we've just sort of took what was already in place and how can we modify and make other items out of it. And that's been a focus. I'd say also another thing that's been a big focus for us in our own family. Many people are gluten-free, gluten-sensitive, and so my daughter's running the bakery. We now serve gluten-free bread pudding, which if you've not had bread pudding ever, this is the only restaurant in the world to get bread pudding at because it is amazing at this restaurant. And,
outstanding.
And we've now translated it to gluten-free as well. And so, it's been fun coming up with new items. Every month I'm searching the internet, and the internet's great now. You've got Instagram and all these other places you can go and find recipes and that. And we spend a lot of time looking for that next big thing that maybe people will love at the Wooden Spoon.
Do you change seasonally at all?
So beautifully, they set up before we got started. It used to be every day was a different special. Once I did modify a few things here and there. Like every Monday, tradition was country fried or chicken fried chicken was every Monday. Everybody in the community knew that was what you got on Monday.
Heck yeah!
And every other Friday was going to be either meatloaf or it was going to be an open faced roast beef sandwich. That was kind of the rotation there, if I've got my mind right.
Barbecue meatballs. Don't forget those.
And I get told when I miss stuff. The community tells me all the time when I make a change. But we took 3 of those items. We took the meatloaf and put it on the menu every day. We took chicken fried chicken, put it every day, and we opened ourselves up to doing weekly entrees as a way to kind of modify, still keep what was already there as a standard, but make it a little more simple for our kitchen by doing one entree the whole week for the lunchtime specials. Okay. And then our Friday night specials, they have their thing, and we just kind of keep them rotating the way they used to be.
Well, let's talk about the Friday nights because the Friday nights are a thing here.
So we talk about all the time, it's 2 different restaurants. There's the daytime crowd, and then there's Friday night. It's literally a different experience. A lot more families on Friday night. People come out here, if you're a family like we came here, there's not a single TV in the building, there's no radio playing, there's nothing that my children get distracted by, or except for spending time and talking to their mom and dad, and that's what we wanted as owners, and we still contribute to do that today. But there's always 3 specials. It's always a beef, it's always a poultry, and it's always a fish. Every Friday night, we make sure we go through those 3, and it rotates. There tends to be a routine to it. Like 4th Friday, everybody knows is steak night. We have our ribeyes, fresh cut ribeyes every Friday night, every 4th Friday. And one time, the customer told me, "You're supposed to do steak night on the last Friday of the month." And it happened to be there was a 5th Friday. So I discovered that apparently I need to do it both 4th and 5th Fridays. At least, I don't know if that was the routine or what, but I just made that the new thing. Every 4th and 5th Friday is steak night.
Buddy, you better look at that calendar.
You will not believe, if you will call my Facebook post and the things people tell me, you needed to do barbecue meatballs. I haven't seen those in 2 months.
Oh, no.
They will let us know. And I love it. I love them for it because they love what we do, and they love making us, not making us serve them, but serve them what they're looking for.
Well, and the place is also, as we talked earlier, known for pies, and the coconut cream pie, I believe, is what you mentioned earlier. Talk about the pies right now, because they're probably flying off the second you put them up.
Yeah, well, Pie Day is this coming Friday, as you know. So,
3.14.
3.14, big deal.
I like to call it 22/7, but that's because I'm a nerd.
Nice. But the top 3 pies are still the top 3 pies I think that were here before. It's the coconut cream pie, the bumblebee pie, which I think there's a story of that name, right, on the bumblebee?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember why. I've thought about this, trying to remember why we started calling it bumblebee. And I think it was because other places served something that they called bumbleberry.
Right.
And one of our waitresses said, she told one of the customers, she said, yeah, we call it bumblebee. We take the stingers out. And for some reason, it just stuck. And so, yeah.
Of course it did.
Bumblebee to this day.
Yeah, of course it stuck. Why wouldn't it after that?
Yep.
Speaking of your Mike Pickleman Home Pro Tip of the Week, frozen food.
Yes, sir.
You guys have a take and bake-ish sort of thing.
We do. Something that started before we bought here. And honestly, as a customer, I went here 11 years, and I don't think I ever noticed that cooler in the front lobby. We also bought the dessert truck that the Klassens had. And we started taking that to downtown Bentonville by Oven and Tap. And I would have customers on Saturdays, because we're not open on weekends, as you know. And they would ask me, can you bring those frozen meals that you've got? And the first time I was like, what frozen meals? And believe it or not, there's a lot of, the learning curve was big. And so I said, okay. And so we had the ice cream freezer, fit like eight total I could fit in this ice cream freezer. I'd sell all 8 every weekend. And then next thing I know, I'm going to buy a Sam's Club freezer, and I put it in there, I get 40. I'd sell all 40 every weekend. I was like, this is crazy. People like these frozen foods. And so, long story, made it even longer probably, we decided to get into the frozen food business and said, this is a time where it kind of met a couple things going on. The economy's getting tougher. People want great quality food, and they want a way to get it, but you can't come out of the wooden spoon very easily. It's far out in Gentry. So we figured we'd bring it out to them like we were doing in the dessert truck. We bought an old Schwann's truck, painted it up like our brand.
Absolutely.
And we bring in our frozen foods every week to about 7 or 8 different locations. We've got a gentleman, Mr. Kevin, who goes out and talks to the customers and sells them. And it's been a delight to see a kind of an offshoot of our business continue to kind of grow and see customers be excited every time we show up in the front door. Yeah. We'll have a line of 8 to 10 customers waiting on us when we get there. It's a lot of fun.
That's great. What a smart idea.
Yeah,
smart idea. You were talking earlier about when you're open, and for folks that don't know, please give us your hours.
Absolutely. Monday through Friday, we're open from 10:30 to 2 o'clock, and Fridays, we're open from 5 to 9.
Okay.
And that's it. No weekends, only one night a week for dinner. We have special events, occasions that we do different things. This weekend, we're hosting the Butler Creek Boys here on Saturday night as a Southern Gospel concert, and that's an event, paid event concert. We're serving dinner. We do desserts and dancing once a month. Part of this building is it sits empty a lot. And I started thinking about how can we make this kind of a community event center that does some wholesome events for the community. And we're starting to kind of play around a little bit in that area since we're not actually open on Saturday. What can we do that creates some fun for people? And
that's great.
And that's what we're doing now.
That's great. All right. So where can folks find you online?
WoodenSpoonGentry.com is our website, and you can order food from the website. You can place orders of desserts. You can order the frozen foods. You can do it all there.
And Facebook, Instagram, places like that?
We have a Wooden Spoon Facebook page, a Wooden Spoon on the Go page for the frozen business.
Nice.
And we've got an Instagram page as well.
Okay, great. You can find Flavors of Northwest Arkansas on Facebook and Instagram, and cover your ears. I just recently started TikTok, and I'm lost. You can find us there, though. So, guys, thank you all so much for your time.
Can I add one little thing?
You bet.
Okay, so this is kind of speaks of the Wooden Spoon and Gentry and the connection.
Sure.
So there was a gentleman, he was the architect for this building.
Okay.
And Jim Koistra was his name. Big name in Gentry.
Okay.
He came here every Friday night, and he would show up, well, back then, when we opened at 5, he would show up at 4. So he was going to be the first one here.
Excellent.
Well, there was people that got onto that, so we had a couple come in. They came in at 4:45. He was not happy. Next time he shows up at 3:30. He was known to be out here at 3 o'clock, sitting on the porch, waiting, because he's going to be the first guy. He had a table, and there's still a picture that he drew that hangs by his table. He passed away about 2.5 years ago.
Oh, no.
But if he didn't show up, he would either call us and say, hey, I'm not going to be there Friday night, or if he didn't call, I would call and make sure he's okay.
That's what it's all about right there. What a great story. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you again, guys, very much for your time. Please, as always, tip your servers. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.